You're listening to One Sweet Wrestling Podcast.
One Sweet Wrestling Podcast.
With your host, Beto Barragan.
And we all know that when the good Lord created man, he meant for him to look just like me.
And Alex Lewicki.
The tower of power, too sweet to be sour. I'm funky like a monkey. Sky's the limit and space is the place.
The podcast made by fans for wrestling fans.
One sweet, one sweet, one sweet, one sweet.
You're listening to One Sweet Wrestling Podcast. Welcome to episode 13 of One Sweet Wrestling Podcast. It is I, your host, Beto Barragan, and with me, as always, the Wrestling Wikipedia,
Alex Lewicki.
I kind of stole your thunder there, didn't I?
That's all right, man. It's episode 13. This is the lucky episode.
This is a very lucky episode. We've got lots to cover. Yes, Elimination Chamber is this Sunday, but we kind of already covered that on episode 12, so we're going to go ahead and kind of give you guys a little something extra, a little something different on this episode. But we'll go ahead and get into that a whole lot later. But right now, let's just dive right into the headlines, Alex.
Some news coming out of the interwebs via WWE. Something I'm actually looking very forward to. After WrestleMania, all pay-per-views are going to be dual brand pay-per-views by the WWE.
Okay, what does that mean?
So what's going to happen is, instead of it being 1 month a Raw brand pay-per-view, the other month SmackDown becomes the other brand pay-per-view, they're going to be combining their talents into one pay-per-view, kind of like what they did before the brand split.
Okay.
Now, my thought is twofold. I'm really excited about this because I'm tired of having to commit so much time to these pay-per-views.
Yeah.
And a lot of them don't really mean anything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, is this going to hurt the mid-card? Because think about what you're going to have to do to get the pay-per-views.
You got to get time.
You do have to get time. And the problem, I hope they don't decide, well, instead of doing one pay-per-view per month per brand, we're just going to turn it into one 5-hour pay-per-view. I can't, as much as I love wrestling, and I really do, I can't dedicate 5 hours to one pay-per-view outside of WrestleMania.
I hear you. So I agree with you to a certain extent. I want to say that with this happening, what happens to the mid-card, in my opinion, is pre-shows. You have pre-shows and you have a dedicated spot for the mid-card, which makes the titles mean something a little more. But seeing as you have two different titles on two different shows, I would think that would kind of be hard to pick and choose which title is going to be defended. Like, is the Intercontinental title going to be defended? Is the United States title? Because think about it. You've got the U.S. title, the IC title. When both of them, let's say both of them are defended on a Elimination Chamber, like this Sunday. Okay. Let's say that happens. The thing that to me would bother me as a fan, and I'm sure it wouldn't bother them in the front office, is why? Because you have two mid-card championships. This is usually the title that pushes the talent to the next
level.
The next level.
Yeah.
So why am I going to have two of the same? They're basically the same title in the sense that they're the mid-card championship to move up to the next level.
Well, I don't necessarily think that they're going to do. What I would like for them to do is, if they're going to have this be dual brand, you can only have one title be represented.
Gotcha.
So I see your point with the Intercontinental Championship and the U.S. Championship. They're both, I guess, in fans' eyes, they're almost one and the same as far as talent.
The same could be said with WWE title and the Universal title as well.
Now, my only what am I trying
Your
to
gripe,
say?
maybe? Your
Not so much
issue?
a gripe, but my only issue with that is you look at the Universal title.
Okay.
It's technically on the A show, which is Raw.
Right.
However, you look at the WWE title, which is being held right now by AJ Styles.
Yes.
How do you differentiate which one is going to be more important?
How do you feature it?
That's my issue. Do you, at this point, cut your losses and go, look, we need to have one heavyweight title?
Yeah.
And from there, and this is where I would like to see this happen. I don't. They're already kind of doing this with different title. The cruiserweight title.
Yeah.
Have a 16-man tournament.
Okay.
Kind of like the King of the Ring. Bring back the King of the Ring. Have that be for the heavyweight title.
That makes sense to bring back the King of the Ring to elevate somebody. I don't know if you want to put that for the title though.
Or have it be for the number one contendership.
That makes a lot more sense because that's usually what they do is they have your King of the Ring, and then they move on to become a champion of some sort, either the Intercontinental title or the Heavyweight Championship.
But yeah, that's what's happening after WrestleMania. I see this, if they do it right, it's going to be very good.
I think it works out at the end of the day. I think it's less pay-per-views. I don't want to see, to be honest with you, I don't remember the it was after SummerSlam, and it was just a weird pay-per-view that I was just like, why am I watching this?
Was it Payback? Oh, no, Payback happens after WrestleMania, doesn't it?
It could be Payback. It could be something like that I was just like, why am I watching this? Other than the fact that I'm a wrestling fan, why am I watching this?
Yeah, no, I agree. And the other issue with a lot of these pay-per-views, they don't really progress storylines anymore.
Well, there's hardly any build-up anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I remember when we were kids, the 4 major pay-per-views really meant something because
Oh, yeah.
title changes would happen.
Right.
As of, instead of now where a title could change hands at
random?
Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, it's a good pay-per-view, but I think the closest pay-per-view that's come to kind of cracking the top 4 for me personally is Money in the Bank.
Oh, I look forward to Money in the Bank.
I mean, it's a consistently good show.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it kind of offers you another way of seeing, hey, this is the next guy we're going with.
This is like doing King of the Ring without King of the Ring.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's
know what I
condensed
mean?
into one group. It's condensed into one match.
Because wasn't the King of the Ring an all-night thing, and like they had to wrestle continuously?
Well,
It's kind of like they would have.
Yeah.
the matches
It wasn't so much a gauntlet match. It was winner progresses to. It's like the original UFC.
Yeah.
You would have one winner progress to the next round, and then from there it goes to the last person, and then
Right.
from there you get the King of the Ring, and then I think from that you had a title shot.
Right.
So, not so much a gauntlet match, unlike the one we saw Monday night, which we'll be going over in a few.
Yeah.
But the dual brand pay-per-views, I hope they do away with some of the lesser ones like Capital Punishment. I don't even know if that's still going on.
I don't even know.
So along the lines of brands, and this is another big shift, 205 Live is no longer being produced by Vince McMahon.
See, I didn't even know it was being produced by Vince McMahon. Until
Neither
you
did
told
I.
me.
It's actually being produced by Triple H.
Now?
Yeah. For the
Okay.
last, I want to say, almost month as of this recording.
Right on.
Triple H has been taking over 205 Live. The new general manager, that was all him.
Oh wow.
He's since brought in some new talent. From what I've heard, again, I haven't been watching because, again, after Monday Night Raw, 3 hours, and then you want another 3 hours. It's a lot to ask.
Yeah.
And I love cruiserweights, but
Not the same.
having their own dedicated show for some reason just feels like it's too much unless you're going to incorporate it into SmackDown.
You should incorporate it into both shows.
Yes, exactly.
You should. It should always be, much respect to what Triple H does with NXT, with that brand, because it is its own brand. But an hour after SmackDown or Raw or whatever, it's overkill.
It's a big ask because
Yeah.
you're asking someone, okay, you just saw a main event. Now we're asking you to reinvest another hour into storylines that you have to in a sense, continue figuring out what's happening.
Yeah,
who
you're
the
not
heel
gonna
is.
know about it unless you have the network.
Exactly, and that's the other big
You know
issue.
what I mean? Like,
It's kind of like the mixed tag team. I hear a lot of good things, but I don't really hear a lot of people talking about it.
yeah, because it's not something that is.
It's not going to produce anything.
right.
You know,
It's exhibitions. It's just an
Yeah.
experiment to me. Is the way I look at it.
I would like to see the incorporation of 205 Live either into NXT, because that crowd would
Oh, they'd eat it up.
absolutely.
It would be huge.
But, I see they want to have them as a touring act, but, it is what it is. Obviously, I'm not Triple H. I can't book this, but I don't know. What else is going on this week? Seth Rollins has officially wrestled the longest match in Raw history, clocking in at 65 minutes, defeating both Roman Reigns and John Cena, and ultimately being defeated by Elias. I saw a good chunk of this opening match.
Yeah.
Granted, I did come in late and didn't really understand what was going on, and I kept hearing gauntlet match, and from what I understand, this went 2 hours. It took 2 hours of the show.
Yeah.
Now, here's my issue. Does that become a crutch? Does that mean the creative team just went, you know what, we're taking the night off?
We don't have anything for anybody
Yeah, we don't.
else.
You know what? We're just gonna have you guys wrestle for 2 hours. The other thing is, you have people that are wrestling in the Elimination Chamber this weekend.
Yeah.
Why would you subject them to 2 hours worth of wrestling? Give that 2 hours to some other group.
Titus Worldwide. Anybody.
Well,
Anybody.
anybody
No.
worthy.
Here's the thing. I'm totally with you on that. I'm gonna get on my soapbox here for a little bit. I'm gonna go a little hard on this one, dog. Here's what I'm saying, bro. So you're absolutely right. I'm going to say that you're absolutely right. Did the writers take a night off, or what's the deal? Because realistically, hey man, props to Seth Rollins for going that long. That's not a typical WWE structured match. Typical WWE TV time structured match is probably about 5 to 10 minutes. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
These
for sure.
guys are not used to wrestling that long.
Well, they are, but in places like Ring of Honor, independent promotions.
Yeah, but how long has it been since Seth Rollins has wrestled that long?
Probably about 8 years.
So I would think it would kind of take its toll. However, when you're young and you're healthy and you're physically able to do that stuff, then yeah, and you're athletic, you can do it. Here's the thing though. The thing is, like, you're right. These guys are wrestling this Sunday in an Elimination Chamber match. What happens if any of those guys get injured on the go-home show before the pay-per-view? What are you going to do? And remember what we were talking about last week. These are your top 7 guys. These are your guys that you can intertwine and move around. Lots of moving pieces in this match. Or any match that you could put these 7 guys in. But the problem is that once you have all 7 participating in a gauntlet match, let's just say, God forbid, Seth Rollins busted his knee again during that match.
They were teasing it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what happens? Like, who do you put in Seth Rollins' place? Do you just continue on as a 6-man hell?
I have a name
elimination?
that should have been in this Elimination Chamber.
Sure.
And this is somebody I've been high on since I saw him way before WWE.
Okay.
Cesaro.
Oh yeah, for
Cesaro
sure.
can wrestle an hour easy.
But here's the thing: they're not doing that with him right now.
They should.
They should.
He is honestly, I think, one of those talents that they are underutilizing.
Yeah.
Yes, the Bar is great. It's a great tag team. Cesaro is an amazing competitor.
Yeah.
He can easily wrestle an hour. He's got the look.
Yeah.
He's got the athleticism.
He can make all those guys look extra good.
John Cena does not need to be in this.
No, he doesn't need to be
John
in
Cena, he's got his legacy cemented.
He's done. He's a what was it that CM Punk called him?
A
He's dynasty.
He's the man.
A dynasty.
I actually
Exactly.
watched that promo
Remember
last
that?
week. Oh, dude, I rewatched that promo like last week.
Nice. So, and hey, you know what's funny? We mentioned CM Punk, and this is episode 13. He was on the cover of WWE 2K13, wasn't he?
I think he's got 13 tattooed onto him someplace.
There
too.
you go. it's a foreshadowing.
Funny
if you
enough,
will.
CM Punk. I'm gonna digress for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
He trolled the internet this week.
Did he?
The All In.
Oh,
He tweeted. People have been asking me if I'm quote unquote in. That was the tweet.
Yeah.
The next tweet was a picture of the Chicago Cubs saying All In.
Interesting.
So clearly,
Interesting.
I've been hearing a lot of things, and I don't foresee him being in Chicago wrestling. I think his mind is so. Oh, I did hear another factoid that his contract with UFC runs up a month after All In goes. So who's to say at that point, what happens? But I don't think he's going to be wrestling at all.
Well, Dana did lose his golden goose recently in Ronda Rousey, so
That's a whole different show.
Yeah.
With MMA. That's a whole different thing I can get into.
That's another show that we do.
But yeah, 65 minutes. Seth Rollins went through it. Good for him.
That's cool.
But I wouldn't necessarily say right now I'm on team Seth Rollins.
No,
You know,
not at all.
speaking of teams, there's a new little twist in the Bullet Club tear apart.
Yes, yes.
Team Cody or Team Kenny. If you're a fan of the Bullet Club, if you're a fan of Being the Elite, you know that the latest Being the Elite is basically about who do you choose?
Yeah.
Are you Team Kenny or are you Team Cody?
See, here's the thing with that. A lot of talk on the internet, a lot of buzz is going on, especially with Honor Rising coming up actually, it'll happen this weekend. Cody versus Kenny. A lot of buzz is going on. There's also a Team Tonga happening at this time. So, I mean, there's lots of rumor, lots of innuendo. With the recent episode of Being the Elite, looking at the characteristics of Cody and Kenny, first off, great chemistry between the two. Just phenomenal as far as how they interact with each other. A lot of drama happening within the Bullet Club with the Bucks, with Marty Scurll, even Barry, the new drug-free bear.
I
with the Bullet Club.
I didn't realize Barry was Bury, which makes it even funnier.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you look on the Twitter, it says Barry the Bear. I was like, oh, Barry, Barry Horowitz.
That's hilarious.
No, Barry, Bury.
Yes, I dig that.
Great.
I dig that. So, did you see we just saw the new episode of Being the Elite. If you saw it, lots of funny little tidbits, like with Kenny saying, like, oh, the 3-star savior, snake in the grass, things like that. I mean, you definitely have something. Even with Cody kind of schmoozing the Bucks to kind of move towards his way and be part of his crew. Very interesting, very, very fun stuff. I mean, just for the sake of character, I mean, we spoke about this earlier. I'm kind of Team Cody, dude. I'm kind of Team Cody for the fact that the character is just spot on for a heel.
Yeah, he's really funny. He does, like we were talking earlier.
Yeah.
He's like an 80s villain.
Yeah. He's like the Cobra Kai guy.
Yeah. Slicked, golden hair.
Yeah. He's Johnny, dude.
He's got
He's Johnny.
He's got that smile that's just kind of like
that cocky, arrogant smile.
That's it. Yeah.
Dude, just a perfect character for him.
And what's great is the fact that we've met him and he's super nice. And
Yeah.
for him to be able to do this is even better.
Oh, he's great. He's a perfect heel. Like, I think if anybody could match The Miz as far as heel persona,
Ooh.
I would love to see Cody versus The Miz. Cody now versus The Miz now, you're looking, that's a WrestleMania card.
I see a
match
lot
right
of
there.
parallels. That's a good call.
That's
a great call.
That'd be something cool to see. So are you Team Cody or are you Team Kenny?
Well, for the sake of argument,
Yeah.
I'm going to go Team Kenny.
I stole your thunder, dude. I'm sorry. I know you were Team Cody.
And I'll tell you why I'm Team Kenny.
Okay.
Better wrestler. There's nothing taking away from
that's
Team
true.
Cody.
Yeah.
But as far as pure wrestling, Team Kenny.
He's the leader of the Bullet Club. I mean,
In many people's eyes.
yeah.
You
Well, in his eyes, if you watch Being the Elite, he says, "Well, I'm the leader." So you're looking at the Bullet Club.
Well, for now, he's the
Woo!
leader. Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well,
Lots of cool things. But dude, did you hear about this? I saw this on social media. James Ellsworth creates or created the intergender championship.
Yeah, it's half blue, half pink. It looks like a sherbet swirl.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's interesting. So if you haven't or don't remember or don't know about the intergender championship, it actually did exist at some point in the 70s with Andy Kaufman.
Also, I'm going to butcher this, but
Sure.
at one point, Hall of Famer Jacqueline Moore wrestled Harvey Whippleman for a title.
That's right.
So that's another.
Wasn't it for the women's championship?
It was.
Wasn't it for
It
the
was.
women's
It was.
championship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's what's going on with that intergender championship. I think it's awesome for James Ellsworth. It's pushing him along, which
especially after leaving WWE or
being released
from WWE. Now he's in the Indies doing this intergender championship with this title, with the angle. But what I hear is that he's going to go travel around
the territories,
quote air quotes, and defend the title.
Good for him.
So maybe we'll see.
We'll see him here.
Maybe we'll see him here in San Antonio, Texas.
That's very interesting.
That'd be kind of cool.
Now, there's a gentleman that is actually lost an Intercontinental Championship to a woman.
Really?
And that man is going into the Hall of Fame this year.
Oh, can I try it? Can I try to say it?
Yeah, man.
Okay, that's JEFFJARRETT. Ha ha.
You got it. Nailed it on the head, my man.
Yeah,
Jeff Jarrett.
with jigs. Sorry, I went old school on that.
I can't talk anymore.
Yeah, you can't talk anymore. All right, that's okay. You got it. I release you.
Thank you. Going into the class of 2018, along with Ivory, the Dudley Boys,
Goldberg.
You know what? I forgot. It's weird. He's
Goldberg.
the biggest name on there, and I completely forgot he got entered.
Arguably the biggest name.
Well, you know.
Because, the Dudley Boys are... It's the Dudley Boys, bro.
I think they were 16-time ECW champions.
Dude, they're like...
Tag team champions. ECW tag team champions.
But Jeff Jarrett is now a WWE Hall of Famer.
Now, you gave me a list of stats that just blew me away.
Dude, the thing is with
Give it
these
to the
stats,
people.
Okay, so these stats are just some things that I picked up off of the good old interwebs. But let me tell you something. These stats that I'm about to list right now, this is not even like... This is just a tip of the iceberg, folks. So let me try to go ahead and read these stats here. Just the tip. He debuted on WWE WWF TV on Monday Night Raw in 1993, defeating PJ Walker. I'm not familiar with PJ Walker, but I definitely want to check out who he is. He is a 6-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion during his TNA run, 4-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion, a 3-time WCW United States Champion, 6-time WWE Intercontinental Champion, WWE Tag Team Champion with the late great Owen Hart. He was actually considered a member of the Four Horsemen in AAA for all you lucha fans out there. Mega Champion, and also in AAA, the Rey de Reyes in 2004, and of course TNA Hall of Famer in 2015, which a company that he started, as well as Global Force Wrestling. And now he's a 2018 WWE Hall of Famer. So, yeah, Jeff Jarrett has quite the list of accolades. Congrats to Jeff Jarrett, man. Like, for sure. Like, Jeff Jarrett, a lot of people would say not their favorite wrestler, not the greatest.
Yeah, well, I talked to you about this on the car ride over here. I'm going to preface it by saying this.
Yeah.
Preface. Great wrestler, just not my cup of meat.
Cup of meat?
Cup of meat. Now, I respect
Sean
what he...
Stasiak? Sorry, go ahead.
I respect what he did in the ring. I respect what he continues to do in the ring. But I guess it was just my age at the time, seeing him come in as that country singer.
Right.
And especially being from California, I just wasn't in touch with his character.
Yeah.
It really wasn't until he teamed up with Owen Hart that I really saw him as a character. Him with Deborah, who I had a huge crush on.
Oh, bro, who didn't?
So, yeah.
You kind of took a flashback to like the old 1999 SummerSlam.
I just saw it in my mind.
Outfit, didn't you?
I got
yeah.
a little flustered.
Yeah.
So yeah, honestly, great guy, great wrestler, but just he never got on my radar. I don't know what it was. I just overlooked him, not in a disrespectful way.
Yeah, it was just your age, and you weren't with it with that character.
That was the age of Stone Cold,
Exactly.
and it's hard.
Oh yeah.
To overshadow Stone Cold.
Here's the thing with Jeff Jarrett for me. Like, Jeff Jarrett was one of those guys that was, to me, overlooked. When he came out with that, great wrestler, man.
Yeah.
Just a great wrestler.
Yeah.
But the problem to me was I hated his ring gear. I don't know. I was
I
hated Double J's ring gear.
But spiky hair?
No. Not crew cut spiky hair Jeff Jarrett, when he kind of looked like a badass with those shades and like the guitar. He still had the guitar. He come out with it.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking Jeff Jarrett when he had like that weird, like those weird straps that went up to his neck. And they yeah, it was just weird.
And those
like
weird flashing lights and the sunglasses.
Yeah, I didn't really take to Jeff Jarrett until like probably when he was in the WCW era, like his first run in WCW. To me, Jeff Jarrett is one of those guys that, I mean, you've heard the list of accolades. Great wrestler. The thing, to me, the problem with Jeff Jarrett for a lot of fans, like now, like if, a lot of fans would probably look back at his matches or say, hey, Jeff Jarrett's really awesome. Or there's some people out there that listen to this podcast that think, dude, Jeff Jarrett was always awesome. You're just a mark. But the thing is that Jeff Jarrett could have been that guy. But the thing is that Jeff Jarrett was overshadowed constantly over all the talent that was being provided at the time.
There was just too many strong personalities.
Right.
And he was an unfortunate recipient of being in that era with The Rock, Stone Cold,
Taker, Bret Hart.
Here's
the thing, though. The interesting thing about him is that he would get those opportunities against Bret Hart, against Diesel, against Razor, which is where he won his first Intercontinental Championship from. But the thing is that after that, he doesn't get that little nudge, that little rocket ship that just goes attached to his back to be the man. You know what I mean? They put him with Flair to be the next man.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it just didn't take. The fans to me, I think, still remember Jeff Jarrett as the goofy cowboy gimmick with, singing, I can't wait to be alone with my baby tonight. That stuff. Which I'm going to shout out Bruce Pritchard for that, because when I heard him sing that song, dude, I laughed so hard. But anyway, I digress. Jeff Jarrett, congratulations to the man, WWE Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of what you and I think,
he's still the man.
He's still going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Congratulations. Enjoy it. And I hope your speech and everything leading up to the WrestleMania Hall of Fame, you just have a great time, man.
Yeah, for sure. He just well deserved. But then we're going to wrap it up with the headlines, and we'll be back right after this.
Legend says there is a place in San Antonio where there are battles of the mind and trivia, loteria, and celebrations where we drink and dance to live music. El Luchador, located at 622 Roosevelt in Southtown San Antonio.
Hey guys, this is Annie, aka Mini Rampager, and you're listening to One Sweet Wrestling Podcast.
Thank you, Annie. We appreciate that. And Annie is actually our One Sweet Wrestling fan. We'll be hearing a lot more from her later on in the show. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about put over or bury.
Actually, Beto, I've got a question to ask you.
Okay.
And this is for the today is going to take over for put over or bury.
Okay, that's fine.
This is a question that I've been thinking about all day, and it's just, we're both wrestling fans.
Okay.
We've both been around the wrestling fan experience, as you can call it.
Are you going to propose to me?
Well, I got a ring on my finger, well, maybe. But
yes.
My question to you is, do you think the art of tape trading is alive or dead?
Very interesting question.
Now let me preface this. For anybody young enough that doesn't understand what tape trading is, basically, it's kind of like you get put on. By put on, I mean your friends tell you.
Music.
Yeah, basically,
Yeah.
It's like that. But
it's like trading CDs. Hey, man, check out this band I saw last week or whatever.
Now, there was, at a time, the only way you would be able to watch ECW, anything from Japan, Mexico, anything overseas, or at times, independent promotions throughout the United States would be traded person to person by tape. Literally, here's the tape. I'm going to trade you ECW for FMW from Yokohama, 98, watch match between Hayabusa and Onita. Now, I, for one, loved that era.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Here's the thing. Like, with all things, times change. I don't think that people are necessarily trading tapes anymore. I don't think the art form of it has died. I think that the art form is still alive and well. It's just evolved into sharing links now.
So it's gone into a new medium.
It's gone to a new medium, but here's the thing, like there's a whole different I feel like, see, I'm old school. I'm very much into vinyl. I'm very much into VHS tapes. I'm very much into having something tangible in my hand. I feel like a lot of times, especially in our age, in our era, we don't necessarily get to have that face-to-face interaction with people anymore. I mean, it's kind of like you go out to dinner, you go anywhere. You see 9 times out of 10 kids on their phones. My girlfriend and I were actually out the other night. We saw like 2 kids on their phones sitting next to each other, and we were taking bets as far as like, let's see which one of them looks up first. You know what I mean? Like it's that bad.
Yeah, it's gotten pretty obvious.
So with that being said, like I think the human interaction has gone away from the tape trading, as well as the tapes. I'm not going to say that it's dead, but I'm going to say that it's just moved to a different medium, and it's a lot easier to just share a link nowadays than to trade a VHS tape, because now I think more or less along the lines like those kinds of things, like tangible things, have more of a sentimental value now than they did then.
Yeah. No, I agree. I have to agree with you on this. It's just changed mediums. Just like, obviously, for the purists, you're obviously always going to want the hard copy.
Yeah.
But if you're somebody that's just getting started, and you want to mass consume,
right,
the internet's
it's your safest bet.
It is, and it's the best way to assure that you're basically getting it for free.
Yeah, I mean, that's not to say that tape trading is done.
No,
I want to say that, you know, it's kind of, someone said this, and I forget who it is. If anyone that's privy to this, drop us a line. Remind me who said this. But there's a market for everyone and everything. I think that there's still some tape traders out there.
For sure.
For sure. There's old school guys that are still trading stuff. But, you know, the common denominator, it has changed. The medium has changed.
I will say the one thing that tape trading has, just like vinyl has, just like if you get a cassette tape.
Right.
Sometimes what you have in your hand
is
not accessible to you on the internet.
That's true.
There are some rare things, or there's matches that you can't find on the internet that you can get a full slew of.
Example, I recently saw online this guy had a copy of AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan at Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor was in its infancy stages. It wasn't even Ring of Honor yet.
Oh yeah. I remember those.
You know what I mean? Like
I remember
it's
seeing
crazy.
I remember seeing those DVDs at like independent record stores.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, this is some offshoot wrestling organization.
Check this out. Remember Blockbuster would have like pay-per-view VHSs and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so there used to be this mom and pop shop called Pop and Go. It was a video store that had, pretty much everything from B films to adult entertainment to wrestling videos they just had everything. Just stuff that they had, some stuff that was released to the mass public, but they also prided themselves on their B films. A lot of the videos that I remember getting were a lot of the B film horror movies and old school wrestling videos. They had them there, sitting there.
That's awesome.
And it would you'd see like ECW stuff and like the guys it was probably Terry Funk and Sabu on the cover, like bleeding profusely.
You just didn't know who it was.
I didn't know who they were because I was so conditioned to watching, the mainstays, the WWEs and WCWs.
It's very interesting the same way, because you and I both love music.
Yeah.
In the same way that an album cover can direct you towards a band.
Right.
There's the same way in ECW, whomever.
Yeah.
Their album, if it looks amazing or it
Yeah.
just looks like, oh my God, this looks insane, I need to see it, that's got, for lack of a better term, face value.
It's like I was at Hog Wild when I was like 18. I remember Fearless Iranians from Hell. That's a band that was like big in San Antonio at like in the 80s.
I've never
or
heard
the
of them.
90s. You want to talk punk rock to its core? That band is the band.
Look, guys, if you want a music podcast, you want an offshoot, let us know, because I don't think you understand. We could probably talk more about music than we could talk about wrestling.
Yeah, we can kind of go off on our own tangents. But let me go ahead and introduce this segment here. Something new that we're going to try out. We want to just kind of throw this out there. Professional wrestling is one of those things in life that has impacted people in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter what age you are. There's some sort of enjoyment, expression, inspiration, or influence from it. For some, it's an escape. For others, it's uplifting. I had the opportunity to interview Annie Vasquez, who found inspiration through the art form of professional wrestling. All right, One Sweet Wrestling Podcast. It is I, Beto Barragan, and I am joined by Annie Vasquez, a wrestling fan. And guys, it's cool. She's a chick, but she knows her stuff when it comes to wrestling. So try not to give her a hard time when you see her out there wearing any type of wrestling t-shirt. So Annie, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. I actually had the day off from work, so I got to stay in and just hang out with my dog and my girlfriend. So that was so fun.
That's great. Yeah, I just stayed home too.
Yeah, what'd you do today?
I honestly just stayed home, was lazy, and didn't feel like doing anything until now.
That's what's up. Awesome. And thank you for spending time with One Sweet Wrestling Podcast.
I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. So just to start off, what got you into wrestling?
This is actually a really funny story. So when I was 7, I was scrolling through the channels and I came across wrestling. And this was back in 2007, I think.
Okay.
And I saw Hornswoggle versus Jamie Noble for the Cruiserweight title. And it amazed me how Hornswoggle was so little and he was going against somebody like twice his size. And I watched the whole match until I think he won. He won. It just amazed me how athletic they were and how he was so small and he won. And I'm really small too, so that I can relate to him. After that...
You're not like Hornswoggle small, are you?
No, I'm like 5 foot.
Because you're like, I'm small too, so I don't.
Yeah.
It just kind of made me laugh. So Jamie Noble versus Hornswoggle was the first ever wrestling match that you ever saw?
Yes. It was really entertaining because Jamie Noble got hit in the face with a bucket by Hornswoggle.
Yeah,
really
I remember
funny.
that. That's hilarious. Mm-hmm. So that was back in 2007?
Yes.
Okay,
on Raw.
So how old are you? You're really young, if you don't mind me asking.
I'm 18 right now.
Okay, so you're 18. You're one of those famous millennials that just happened to scroll upon wrestling out of the blue, huh?
Yes. And then after that match, I kind of just flipped through the channels again, and wrestling didn't come back into my life back in 2011.
Okay.
Early 2011, late 2010. I was scrolling through the channels again, and there was WWE, so I started watching because I was so drawn into the athleticism and the stories and the characters and storylines and all that good stuff.
Right on. Who's pretty much like, as you started watching wrestling, who was your favorite wrestler growing up? Because you said that wrestling was out of your life for a while. Did you see the video and then kind of just, all right, that was cool, that was pretty interesting to see, and I'm gonna move on with my life? And out of the blue, you turn on the TV and wrestling's on, and it just caught your attention again?
Yes, because I remembered that match I watched. I was like, oh, what if it's the same two people fighting? And I was like trying to wonder, but no, they weren't on the show.
Okay.
When I watched it.
Right on. So not to sound weird at all, because it's just going to sound weird anyway when I say it, but looking at your social media, you've taken lots of pictures with a lot of WWE superstars. How did that come about? How did that happen? Inquiring minds want to know.
My father, he's into wrestling too, and he's in the hotel business. So whenever WWE's in town, he'll call one of his hotel friends and ask them what hotel they're staying at so we can go to their hotel and meet them. It sounds really creepy, but yeah, I've done that.
Well, what's interesting is that that's still kind of like around. See, back in the day, I'm going to sound old to you. I'm almost going to sound like an uncle to you. Okay. So Uncle Bethel's talking here. So, back in the day, a lot of wrestlers would, of course they check into the hotels and stuff like that. A lot of fans would go to the events, or prior to the event, they'd go meet the wrestlers as they checked into their hotel rooms, get autographs and things like that. But see, now with social media, it's so cool to see them actually take pictures with fans, because you back then, growing up watching wrestling, these guys were like larger than life. They were comic book characters that popped right out of the comic into your living room. You know what I mean? So a lot of them now are so down to earth and on social media. It's just very interesting to see them interact with fans. I noticed it was an Alexa Bliss and Johnny Gargano. That was awesome, because Johnny Wrestling right now is, I'm hoping he gets that NXT title. I'm just gonna throw that out there. But who was the coolest person that you've met?
Johnny Gargano, actually. He took the time to talk to me. He's one of my heroes, and back in TakeOver last year, during Royal Rumble weekend, I wrote him a letter and telling him, oh, you're my hero and stuff and all. And I went to his hotel again, and I saw him and Tommaso walking by, and I just ran up to him, and I started crying, and just like, oh my gosh. And he's like, oh, are you okay?
That's awesome. What did he remember the letter when you spoke to him about it, or?
Yes, back in, I think it was November during Survivor Series week, NXT had an event here. So I went and I DM'd him and I said, oh, because I've been DMing him like saying, oh, are you going to be on this show? And he said yes, and of course I remember you. And I'm like, oh.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So were there any surprises of anyone that you met? Like, I don't want to say who was the worst person that you've ever met, because we're not on our podcast, we're not about burying people. Was there anyone physically that surprised you, or was were they a cool person? Were they kind of a jerk? Who was the most shocking person to have met?
Honestly, for me, it would be AJ Lee. This was last year, and so she was one of my heroes growing up. She's my idol and my hero and stuff. So after she retired from WWE, I was like, oh, I'm never going to meet her. But last year she did a book signing in Austin, and we went to go meet her. And that was really shocking to me, because I've idolized her since I was 10, and I wanted to be just like her. And people say I look like her, but I don't see it at all. And so I met her, and I just started bawling too, because it was such a long time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it's funny because I was we were watching the Royal Rumble, and we were really hoping that she would make an appearance, but unfortunately she didn't show up. But what were your feelings on the first ever Women's Royal Rumble, and were you happy with the result? Were you cool with Asuka winning, or did you wish someone else had won, or how'd you feel even about Ronda Rousey popping up at the end of the match?
The Women's Royal Rumble, I watched it when none of the divas had TV time. They didn't have a match for a week. They weren't on TV for a week or 2 weeks. They only had TV time for about 5 minutes. And to see how they evolved, it's just so cool to see how far they've gotten. And I really love that Sasha and Becky started it because they played such a big role in women's wrestling. I just love women's wrestling so much. I love all the women empowering other women and showing that, just because you're a woman in a male sport, you can do it as better as the men. I don't know. I really wanted Becky to win, but I'm happy Asuka won.
Right on. Yeah, I'm a big Becky Lynch fan as well. I was happy with Asuka winning. I didn't care too much for Ronda Rousey coming out at the end of the match. It was just kind of hokey. I don't know. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was really mad about it. It was Asuka's time. I didn't want her to win, but still, it was her spotlight, and I think she took it away from all the other women.
Right.
Right.
I definitely agree with that. Big fan of women's wrestling. Do you ever go back and watch any old matches like Lita, Trish, any of that stuff? Does any of that interest you at all?
Yes. So when I got interested in wrestling, I was about 10, and every night I would watch old matches, staying up to 3 a.m., just watching matches, promos. Stone Cold really got to me. He was the first person that I looked back. Him, Chris Benoit, Eddie, Shawn Michaels, of course. And I still do that. I'll stay up to midnight watching old wrestling videos where the network, watching documentaries on there. Yeah.
Did you see that they're going to make a Andre the Giant
documentary? Yes, I saw that.
Are you going to check that out?
Yeah, I think it comes out in April, right?
Yeah, sometime mid-April, late April? I have to double check.
Around April.
Yeah, it's in April, sometime in that. So how are you feeling about the first ever women's elimination chamber match? Because it looks pretty packed. And, I mean, with all the women that are competing in that match, pretty awesome. Do you have a favorite to win that one?
Alexa. Yeah, I hope she wins and goes to WrestleMania as champion, which she will. My thoughts? The Elimination Chamber is so dangerous. The structure, the way it's put, I just don't want anybody to get hurt. That's my problem. I don't want anybody to get really hurt or injured. But I'm really excited for it to show them.
Watching the first ever Hell in a Cell with Charlotte and Sasha scared me. Just because I was like, someone's going to get hurt. This just doesn't look right. A lot of these things that they're doing, it's freaking me out right now. But it turned out to be okay at the end of it. But yeah, who's your pick to win? So you said Alexa for the Elimination Chamber?
Yes.
Who do you think she goes and faces at Mania?
I want her to face Asuka. I'm a real big Paige fan. So seeing her sideline really makes me really depressed because she's worked so far and she was out for about a year and a half.
Yeah. And
it's taken away from her. It's really
I mean,
makes me depressed.
Yeah, for sure, because she's been doing this since she was probably a teenager.
13.
So 13, yeah. So yes. I mean, now she got her opportunity to get on the big stage. Injuries happen. It's nothing to wish upon anyone, whether you're a fan of them or not. It's just unfortunate that it happens. It just happens. When I look at it, I'm like, man, Paige would be great to go up against Asuka. Paige would be awesome to go up against Becky. But, hopefully they turn things around. She's still on TV, isn't she?
Yeah, she just comes out on ringside, but nothing physical. So it's just, right. At least we get to hear entrance music.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. What do you think of the new women's wrestlers that are coming through, like Mandy Rose and Absolution and all that crew? The Riot Squad, I think.
I absolutely love Absolution. I love Sonya so much. I think she's the next star. She is going to be the next star. She has everything. Her wrestling skills, her charisma, the way she talks, she has everything.
Do you catch up on NXT at all? I'm sure you do. You're a big fan of Johnny Wrestling.
Yes, Candice LeRae. I love her. I've been watching her since 2014.
Did you see that match she had with the Young Bucks?
Yes, of course. And with Kevin Owens and Cedric Alexander.
Jeez. Yeah,
She's
she's
so
a trooper.
tough.
She's a trooper. I think her against Selena Vega is going to be a pretty cool match.
She's so tough. Like, she's such a badass. She's like a superhero, you know?
Totally. Do you so I know that you have a personal blog. You blog quite a bit. Am I wrong in that, in asking that, or
Yeah.
you
I
want to tell
do
people
certain
about
topics.
your blog and where they can read it if they'd like to?
Okay. My blog is just really personal. I talk about topics that I face. Depression and wrestling. Actually, the first topic I wrote was WrestleMania 32. That's like a whole nother story.
I'd love to hear it. If you don't mind sharing it, or at least
Yeah, of course.
some cliff notes.
So the first WrestleMania I watched was WrestleMania 27. I told myself I was going to be there. I'm going to be in the crowd one day. So I made it my goal to go to WrestleMania someday. And every Royal Rumble back then, they used to announce next year's location. And it was Silicon Valley, New Orleans, New York, New Jersey, and Miami. So I think it was 2015 Royal Rumble. They finally announced WrestleMania 32, Dallas, Texas. And I just started bawling. I was like, oh my God, it's going to happen. Because for a long time, I was like, it's never going to happen. I started losing hope. Yeah, they announced it. And the next thing I know, okay, so backstory. In 2011, 2012, Triple H came out to Dallas, and him and Shawn Michaels announced that they were going to hold a WrestleMania there someday. So I had hope, and my 10-year-old self would make these little cool paper bookmarks and going around my neighborhood selling them for about 25 cents. And I got like $2 at the end of the day. I was so determined to go. Throughout those 5 years, it was exactly 5 years, I faced depression and self-harm, and I've always wanted to give up, just find an easy way out. But WrestleMania 32 really helped me because I had to be there. I had to go. So, yeah. It means a lot to me, honestly. If you really know me, I always talk about it, and it's really personal.
That's pretty cool. Wrestling is kind of one of those things that a lot of people kind of laugh at if you're still a fan of it, kind of thing. If you're not a 10-year-old kid, but not many people realize that this industry has a big impact on people. I mean, we started a podcast because we were huge wrestling fans, and it was just something that we were like, why not? One of the big inspirations for us was the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, hence the name One Sweet Wrestling Podcast. We got to meet Kenny Omega, and we asked him for his blessing to use One Sweet, and he straight up was like, go for it. Just do it. I don't care. It's like, really? Yeah, if you want to use it, go ahead. Feel free to do it. Awesome. So we took the ball and ran with it. And, you're the first fellow wrestling fan that we've ever interviewed. So thank you for coming onto the show. If you want to put your name out there, put yourself over, I'm going to give you some time to go ahead and tell people where they can reach you. If they'd like to talk to you about wrestling or want to read your blog, where can they find you?
Okay. So my Instagram is Mini Rampager page, MiniRampager. And my blog is minirampager.wordpress.com. So go ahead and go check it out.
Awesome. Check out Annie at her blog and follow her on Instagram and Facebook and all that good stuff on social media. Annie, thank you very much for coming onto the show.
Thank you so much.
We'll definitely talk soon. We've got lots to talk about, especially after Mania or Elimination Chamber. All right. Thank you, Annie. We appreciate it. And
thank you so much.
It was great talking to you.
Great talking to you, too.
We'd like to go ahead and thank Annie for the interview as our One Sweet fan. Listen, if you have a story you'd like to share about how pro wrestling has impacted your life in any way, we'd love to hear it from you. Send us an email at onesweetwrestling@gmail.com. You can also send us a message on Instagram or Facebook at One Sweet Wrestling Podcast. We're going to periodically select a participant to be on the show to tell their story. It's not going to be something that we're going to do every show, but it's going to be something just to kind of get familiar with our fan base, as well as, get you guys accustomed to talking to each other.
Yeah. And at some point, maybe in another episode, we'll tell you about why we love wrestling.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I think people love to talk about their love for wrestling, so why not, right?
Why not?
So, yeah, we'll be right back after this. If you're looking for a unique, clean, and comfortable shop to get your next tattoo, check out the artists at Galaveras Tattoos. They're located downtown San Antonio at 628 South St. Mary's, just north of Cesar Chavez. Galaveras is home to some of the best, most experienced tattoo artists in San Antonio, and the only shop in town with 4 female artists on staff. Established in 2005, Galaveras Tattoos offers a variety of styles and the highest quality tattoos with a price that won't hurt your budget. So stop by for a consultation or give them a call to schedule one. It's easy. 210-227-7673. That's 210-227-7673. Galaveras Tattoos, San Antonio's favorite tattoo shop.
This is Jared Davis, author of To Be the Man comic, and you're listening to One Sweet Wrestling Podcast.
Thank you, Jared Davis of To Be the Man comic. If you haven't checked out To Be the Man comic, please do so. Do yourself a favor. Look them up on tobethemancomic.com. Also check them out at patreon.com/tobethemancomic. Get yourself a copy. It's zombies. It's wrestling. Take my money. This is where we're going. This is the future of comic books.
And they're already working on comic 2. So
Yeah. Chapter 2 is
if you haven't
coming
read
out.
comic 1, you're falling behind.
You're messing up, bro.
Get with the times.
Get with it. But let me tell you something you also have to get with. March 2nd, RCW, that's right, River City Wrestling will be hosting an event at the Turner Club in San Antonio, Texas. Tickets are available right now starting at just $20. The event will feature former TNA World Heavyweight Champion Abyss, and making his first public appearance since the announcement was made, WWE Hall of Famer inductee Jeff Jarrett. That's right. You don't want to miss this event. You definitely want to check out this show. River City Wrestling has some really great talent. Definitely check them out. And if you want to go ahead and meet Jeff Jarrett, they also have the prices listed at their website at rivercitywrestling.net. But we also have another event we want to talk about, April 5th. Tell them all about it, Alex.
April 5th, Wrestle Trivia 2, happening at 622 Roosevelt El Luchador, the sequel, Part 2, Us Against You, Volume 2. If you want some, come get you some.
And we're going to be in a steel cage, and we're going to climb to the top of the cage, and then we're going to jump down on you and reign supreme on wrestling trivia. Sorry, too much?
I just wanted people to come out. But
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm just too into it. I got real excited. But look, guys, April 5th, Wrestle Trivia 2 is happening at El Luchador. You definitely want to check that out. We have already announced one of our many prizes, a copy of Chapter 1 of To Be the Man comic. So if you want to get your hands on a physical copy, something we were talking about earlier.
That's right.
Something tangible, something you want to take home, show the kids, maybe not have them play with it because it's awesome and it's probably going to be worth a lot of money someday. I think so. I have that much faith in this comic book. It's so much fun. But yeah, man, that's going to be one of the prizes that we have too. And we're going to announce prizes throughout the month of March. The month of March. I see how I combine month and March together.
I see that.
You like that? Yeah, we're gonna combine those two words again at some point in another episode. But yeah, throughout the month of March, we're gonna announce all of the prizes for Wrestle Trivia. So you definitely want to be there April 5th and keep listening to the podcast for your chance to basically find out what's happening with this event. We're going to have some vendors out there. It's going to be fun. There's going to be some food out there. I mean, what's not to miss? I mean, we've got some great drink specials from El Luchador. Food. We've got vendors. We've got prizes. You've got us from One Sweet Wrestling Podcast.
Which, I mean, what more could you want?
That's a prize in itself. That's a Christmas gift come early for 2018. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
And just so you guys know, it's also is it the week before?
No, it's the week of WrestleMania.
The week of WrestleMania.
It's the Thursday before the Sunday of WrestleMania.
We're kicking it off right with Wrestle Trivia 2 at El Luchador for WrestleMania weekend. What are you guys missing? Come on out April 5th for Wrestle Trivia 2. Definitely have to check that out. But I don't think there's anything left to say, Alex, but
We out.